Hello. I'm Bella.
I'm Paula. Hello.
Hello, I'm Colleen.
And welcome to another episode of The Butterfly Effect. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here tonight. I'm so excited. This is our episode number 6. Woo!
Woo,
Awesome.
that's exciting.
Yes, very excited. We're all very excited to be here. We have picked a topic that is such a great discussion for tonight, and that is how to find success in failure. We're going to look at success, we're going to look at failure, and we're going to hopefully look at it from a totally different perspective by the end of this show. So I want to invite everyone who's watching this to please press that like button, share it with your friends, because we are going to learn so much tonight. What do you say, girls?
I'm so excited.
Yes, please watch us and join us in our conversation. Don't let us be alone here. Talk. Any suggestions, any questions, any sharing, it's welcome.
Thank you. So we're already getting the hearts coming in. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Tonight's topic is one that was discussed amongst us, and we thought we all felt really, really connected to the topic, and we want to be to bring a little bit of a different perspective to it. So success in failure. This is really cool. I like how we actually played with the world with the words. I can't talk tonight. Right. Well, so what do you think of that? What do you think of this topic? Just the title. What do you think, Paula?
Oh, I think it's amazing having to look at how we can play with the words and get different perspective on things, and that's probably the audience is gonna also realize that as we go through with our today's show.
Yes. Colleen, what do you think?
I agree with you. I think that changing the words around success and failure, it'll jog maybe some of the audience to go, well, wait a minute, what does that mean? And I think that that's the whole purpose of the butterfly effect, is to start all of us thinking a little bit differently, and maybe expanding the way we think of things.
Yeah. Absolutely. So thank you so much. I wanna encourage everybody to give us comments. Simone is already pouring out with comments. Thank you so much, Simone. She says, good night, lovely ladies. Good night, Simone. And she loves this topic. And she says that yes, we will fail before we succeed. This is powerful. And so that's a great start. So let me start. Like always, we're going to go to our definition of the word success. Colleen?
All righty. Okay, success. The accomplishment of an aim or purpose, the attainment of popularity or profit.
Okay, can you say that again, please, one more time?
Sure, of course. The accomplishment of an aim or purpose, and the attainment of popularity or profit.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you, each of you, for your definition of success. What does success mean to you personally? What does it mean for you to achieve success? So we'll start with Paula.
Okay. Well,
she liked that.
I was surprised because I thought maybe Colin will continue, but that's fine. We'll start with me. You see, most of my life, I thought that it is important to have some kind of advantage in order to be successful. So it started with me thinking I have to look physically in a certain way, or I have to maybe come from a wealthy family. To set the record straight, I wasn't coming. I don't come from a wealthy family. And later on, as I started modeling, I thought you have to be a certain height to be successful. And one thing that I realized, actually, that made me realize that made the most difference, was the fact that there was a moment, I can't remember when I end up changing my attitude. So now, as a Christian, I get guidance from the Bible. And there is a verse I really, really love, especially now, ever since this pandemic started. And it's in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2. And it says, wise thinking leads to the right living. Stupid thinking leads to the wrong living. Honestly, this makes me look at success as, or rather, people that tend to be successful having a certain way of thinking compared to the people that are not successful. And it has nothing to do with intelligence, with IQ level, or anything along those lines, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in my view, I think success is not based on your ability, rather is on your mentality.
So as person, like, so I'm asking you a personal question, right? So what do you see success in? Like, at what point do you look at yourself and say, this I'm successful?
Well, it's that change in attitude. You see, for me, was when I changed my attitude, it didn't matter how tall I was. It didn't matter that I didn't come from a wealthy family. It matters that whatever I created a goal, I came up with a goal, right? And when I reached that was, to me, was success. And then sometimes, as I went through those stages, the thing that I wanted the most to happen did not happen. But yet, something else happened that led me to that other thing that I actually wanted, right? So what kept me going is my attitude towards that, okay, my ability to adapt to those changes that I encountered along the way.
So I think what I'm hearing you say, and it's so true to the point, is that success is not a destination. Success is a journey in itself, if you're looking at it from the right point of view. Does that kind of resonate with you?
Yeah, so it's sort of like, is the thinking, what I'm trying to say here is that the thinking is what makes us see the circumstances differently. Not what we do, not what we have, okay? So maybe I'll give you an example so that we will make it easier.
Go for it.
Let's take any objections, for example, okay? Anything, let's call them circumstances. And let's look at these circumstances and refer to them as problems. Now, would you agree, by just labeling those as problems, that will have a negative impact on us?
As opposed to
taking the same circumstances, and instead of looking them as being problems, you look at it from a different perspective, saying, okay, how can I grow from this? Or what can I learn from this? Or what am I supposed to see in this that I'm not seeing? So that will change that, which you call the problem that had a negative impact, and over a sudden it became a positive. You see how just changing your attitude, changing your thoughts, or how you look at it, it changed?
Yes. Yes.
So that's why attitude is what makes the difference. It's not it's exactly as you said, it's not the destination. It's not that goal you wanted to. For example, I wanted to become a professional ballet dancer. My goodness, what I had to go through to get there. A lot more than just going to a professional ballet school. I had a lot of obstacles, a lot, before I even got to the point of having to audition to the Romanian ballet. Just one after the other. But I did not give up. I that made me resilient, and that made me think, okay, I'm learning something here. What can I do next? What's there that I can do next to reach that goal, to become that dancer that I wanted to become?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. Colleen?
Well, before I share what success means to me, are there any comments, or can we welcome anybody?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's lots of comments.
I'd love to hear those before I hear me.
I'm gonna read them actually. So I have a comment from Fahrenheit. Hi, ladies. I believe there won't be any success without consistency and persistence. That is so true.
Yes,
so,
good.
So
yes.
true.
Thank you.
And she said, so true, Della. I think on the comment of success is not a destination, but a journey. As long as you enjoy the journey, you are successful. Yes. This is Fruzan. She's sending us love. Especially Della June. Thank you, Fruzan. Robert J. Moore. I have learned a lot from my own failures as I failed.
I love that phrase.
Forward. That's really good, right? I mean, that's how you're talking about change of attitudes, the way you look at things from different point of views. This is exactly one of those instances, right? When
yes. It's just, I just wanted to make notice, because you had Robert J. Moore's comment up there, is one of the things that I wanted to share was that I recently contributed to a book that was published by Robert about success.
Woohoo!
And one of the things, it's a wonderful book. It's available on Amazon, just saying. And then, but one of the things I did before I wrote my chapter was I reached out and I started asking people, what does success mean to you? And I was very interested at the very different answers I got. So it really depended on what was important to that person at that moment, even because there's different aspects of our lives. It might be financial success. It might be emotional success. It might be, success in career. It could be like it's unlimited what that means to each individual. And for each of us, I think there's different aspects of our life that we say this is successful, this is not successful. So what does success mean to me right now? Success means living in joy and happiness and loving myself, and for the safety and security of the people that I love, right? With everything that's going on. If I get a call from everybody saying that they're good and everybody's good in my family, for me, that's success. So
that's your nurturing side, Colleen.
Yes, I know.
That's awesome. Well, Simone says, let's see. Tracy says, hang on. I missed one. We'll read this one. Success is your mindset on not giving. Do not give up no matter what. And
Yes.
is a great example of that, not giving up. Tracy says success is different for each person and what success looks like to them. Thank you. What does it look like to you, Tracy? What does success look like to you? We're really interested to know. So next comment is from Kim. Success is believing in yourself. Amazing. Success is your mindset. Okay, so I read this one. Sorry about that. I'm going back to that one. Robert says, I have succeeded tonight. It's walking away from work and showering and going to bed. Good night. Good night, Robert. That's good success.
Self-care. I love it.
Yes. So that's awesome. So what success means to me personally,
yes.
I really think in terms of, yes, you're right. You're both so right. You brought so much clarity to this. What success means to me is doing what I love to do, living my passions, and bringing positivity to other people's lives, somehow contributing to the world around me. That to me is success. So it's not really a set goal. It's not something that I'm, if I get there, I'm successful. Is this journey of, if I'm living this way, I'm successful. And so I think so many of us live wonderfully successful lives, except that we might not see it that way. And that's why tonight's topic is so good, because it brings people awareness to start looking at things and saying, well, where am I successful? Well, how am I living a successful life? And so I'm so happy we're doing this. Faranax says, I totally agree. Every happy moment in your life is a success. That's going back to Robert's showering. Austin says, so good, ladies. I agree. It's very important to define what success is for you. A good counter question is to know what you don't want. In other words, what success is not for me. That's a really, right? That's a really great perspective. Simone says she loves this. Tracy says, success to me is being healthy, helping others, and living my best life with my loved ones. And you couldn't have said it better. That's amazing. Amazing. So anything else to add, ladies, as we move on?
I have some when we think about success or successful people, I think it's important for us to realize and to acknowledge that there are a lot of people in the world that we see as successful that didn't always maybe see it that way.
Themselves,
right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Themselves or the world. Like if you think about Oprah Winfrey, she got she got fired and told that she was not, what was the wording that she was unfit for television. Yeah. This is Oprah, right? So before she had the Oprah show, she was told that she was unfit for television. So, and I can't remember who said it, I apologize, but somebody said about perseverance and sticking to it. And so, I think it was Simone that said it. So
that was Fahrenheit. That was Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. And when we were talking about success, Della, you were talking about somebody who tried something 10,000 times.
Yes, that was Thomas Edison. I know it's crazy. 10,000 times he tried and he failed. 10,000 times, but he didn't give up. Had he given up, I mean, 10,000 times doing something.
I know. Just like that's a huge,
right? And as you're talking about this, I can I just interject here? Last night I saw a movie called Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy. And this was a movie is based on the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is one of the top 5 bestseller books in the history of books ever written. I think the first one was the Bible. And I think the second one is, now I forget the order, but I know Harry Potter is one of them, right? And so this one is one of those books. And so they've made this movie, and in the movie they show this this part with Thomas Edison. He's a little kid. He comes home with a letter from the principal, and he's really sad, and his mom takes the letter from him, and it's sealed, so she opens it and reads it. And she reads it out loud. Dear Mrs. Edison, your son is too intelligent. We do not have the right teacher or the right methods to teach him. You're going to have to teach him yourself. And so he gets really happy because now he doesn't feel like he did something wrong. And then later they show the letter, and the letter says, Mrs. Edison, we're sending him home because he is too stupid to be educated by us. And can you imagine?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, different attitude, different perspective. And I think that was such a good story.
It's so funny that you say that because one of the things that I have when we're talking about success is from the book Think and Grow Rich. So one of the things so Napoleon Hill wrote this way back in 1937, by the way. So this is a book that sells as much today, if not more, than it did way back then.
Yeah.
So it is an amazing book. It's a must read. I just signed up for the online courses that have just become available. So I'm really excited to be taking those. But one of the things that Napoleon Hill states in there is that there are 3 things necessary to have success. The first one is a burning desire. So that is something that you truly want. So you ask yourself the question, what do I want? And then the second thing is the the willingness to do whatever it takes, right? Obviously you want to be respectful and all that, but you want to make sure that you are willing to do whatever it takes to make that come to fruition. And then lastly is the decision that you will keep at it until it happens. And
Yes.
that's the persistence that we were talking that we were talking about earlier. So so is the burning desire, or what do you want, the willingness to keep at it, and the decision to stay at it until it happens. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, he shares a story about a miner, and I think I've shared this story before.
I like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And it's my interpretation. It's how I remember it. So the words might be off. But basically what the story is that there's this miner who decides that he wants to be a gold miner, and he goes out and he gets access to the land, and he gets all the equipment, and he learns how to do it, and he does all this hard work and goes through it. And then he spends months and months digging and mining, and he's not having success. And at one point he says, you know what, it's not going to happen for me. And he walks away from it. And then somebody else comes up and continues where he was. And he was literally like 2 or 3 feet from reaching his goal. And if he had just stuck to it, he would have reached his goal, but he gave up. So that's why those 3 things are very important in achieving success.
yes.
And it's funny that you said Think and Grow Rich, because that's what
It keeps showing up in my experience, right?
I have it in this bookcase behind me. But
I'm telling you. So just to continue on that, just to piggyback on that, the same miner who failed at this particular thing then goes on and becomes one of the richest insurance brokerage in the history of the United States, because he realizes that he's going to take that lesson.
yes.
And turn it into something that is going to help him succeed in something else. And we're talking about persistence and consistency.
Yeah.
He said, when I start this, I'm never giving up until I actually succeed. So
And that hits the nail on the head with the idea that every failure comes with a lesson.
Now we're moving on to the
Sorry, I moved on.
Okay, ladies. All right. So for the people who are watching us, thank you so much. There's so much acknowledgement.
Oh, please share.
Yes, like share your comments with us. This is such a great topic. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to press that like button. And if you like, share us with your loved ones if you want them to learn what you're learning. Okay, so moving on. Now I want to ask you to dig a little bit deeper. How does failure help us? And we just started talking about that. And so I want to bring it back to you, Paula. How does failure help us?
See, I listened to both of your guys' stories that you've shared right now. And I'm going to go back to the attitude, because our attitude is closely linked to our belief system, right? It comes from our belief system. And why I think it's so powerful, it doesn't matter if you want to use words like success, like failure, look at things, doesn't matter how you look at them. The belief system is extremely powerful because it makes or breaks things, It's what makes us win or what makes us lose. It's how we look at it, what we believe inside of us. It's what makes us responsible or irresponsible. Most of our own perceptions or belief systems we have are actually other people's concepts and beliefs of who we are. So I have learned that in order to challenge my own attitude, I must accept that I don't know it all. And don't know about you guys, but I have 3 girls, so one of which was a teenager a few years back, and one is a teenager right now. And believe it or not, she believes she knows it all.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to be teachable. I had to learn to sit back and allow my personality or allow God and others even to speak into my life. So I'll give you an example. When we want to fix somebody, that same thing we want to fix about that somebody, it's actually something we have to fix ourselves. Because the truth is, most often than not, we see others as we are. And honestly, for me, that was the hardest pill to swallow. So I would say our responsibility is in our attitude, because we do choose it. It's like God chooses what we go through, according to what I believe, but we choose how we go through it. So it's our belief systems, in other words, that controls our behavior. Let's take two people, for example, that are going through a very, very difficult situation. And one sees faith and stays encouraged and strong, and the other grabs onto that fear and embraces it until it begins to shrink them away from life, and they even go into that victimhood that we actually even discussed last month. What's the difference? It's the same with success and failure, if you look at it that way. It's the same way. Actually, John Maxwell, which our title of today's topic comes from, said it very well. And like Colleen, I'm going to try and see if I can remember it. It said something along the line that a belief is not, it's powerful because it's not just an idea that you possess. It's an idea that actually possesses you.
Ooh, I like that.
Right? It holds a great, great power because it changes your expectations altogether.
Yes.
Like Richard DeVos, the entrepreneur billionaire, used some words that I found them very, very true. He says, the only thing that stands between a man and what he wants from life, it's often merely the will to try it and the faith to believe that it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
See how that is linked? Our expectations have such a huge impact on our attitude.
Yes.
And what's his name? Benjamin Franklin said, "Blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall receive it."
Ah.
You want me to repeat that?
I love that.
I've been using this as a bookmark. This is one of the things that I remember quotes. So I use it I write it with by hand on the piece of paper, and I use it as a bookmark. So yeah. So blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall receive it. You
Amazing.
see how mindset plays such a factor in how we look at success or failure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Negative expectations leads us to what? To a dead-end thinking, if you think about it. When you change your thinking, you change your beliefs. And if you change your beliefs, that changes your expectation. Now, those expectations will change. And guess what's next? Your attitude will change.
Yes.
So with the positive expectations, so with positive expectations comes the positive attitude, and therefore the positive results. Because it's not so much the result itself, but it's how you look at it, how you view it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this. and it makes so much sense. What was it? I think, Colleen, this is one of your most favorite quotes, is if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't,
if you think that you can't, you're right.
Yes,
yes,
you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right. Either way. Yes. And it's so true. Everything.
That was Henry Ford. Yeah.
Yes, everything makes so much sense. I want to read a few of the comments that have come in. I love this. This is so good. I think going back to the Thomas Edison as a kid, I think this happened to Einstein too. I'm not surprised. Tracy says failure lessons. Yes, absolutely. Frank says there are not failure, but experiences that teach us to grow and step forward. Absolutely. Rebecca says, through my challenges is what has shaped me to be the successful and positive person I
Beautiful.
am today.
And
Amazing.
I see those. Yeah, these are answers to that question. Like, how does failure help us?
Yes.
Right.
Our choices are what shapes us, going back to Paula. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. This is amazing. Amazing. Woo! That's so good, right?
Yeah.
You guys? Okay. So sometimes we face this question
Mhm.
of, so let's say I'm expecting to succeed, right? But I want to avoid the failure because the failures are not as much fun. So I
Well,
want.
that depends on what like Paula was saying. Failure, successful people get excited when they have failure. So it's about that mindset. But yeah, some people see it as a negative thing,
Uh-huh.
and so they try to avoid it for sure.
Okay. So part of what our intention is tonight is to change that connotation of negativity towards that word failure to
Yes.
something else, change our perspective, to change our attitude, Paula, towards that word failure. Because as I think we all agree that without failure, there's no success. Or
Yeah.
did you say that?
Well, I don't know if we said it, but it's true, because I think that failure is important for us to have in our lives, because kind of like joy and strife. If you never experience the struggle, then you won't appreciate the successes, or you won't appreciate the good, right? So I think it's important. It's not, I hesitate to use the word motivation, but for some people it is. For some people that failure is a motivator. But I think that failure helps us in that, with every, and I was it Tracy that said it, that with every obstacle, I prefer to call them obstacles or challenges than failures. With every obstacle comes a lesson.
I like it.
That's what I said earlier.
I like it. So there was a woman that I talked to, and she was making sales calls, and so for a long time she didn't like what she was doing, because she figured out that, she's getting too many no's, and it was just really, really difficult for her. When she changed her attitude, her perspective, she took a different stance, and she realized that for every 100 calls she made, one person would say yes. And so she said, I started looking at it differently, because she said, now I was looking forward to making these calls fast, 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 because I wanted to get closer to that one yes. So that I think that's kind of that's kind of cool, the way she changed her perspective. Um, an experience that I recently had, and I wanted to share, was that, okay, first of all, it's Della's Voice's first anniversary today, like October 15th. Thank you. So a year ago, exactly today, was when I did the very first Della's Voice talk show. And so there was a lot of times when I could have given up, because what I thought success meant wasn't happening for me for a long time. And I guess because in my own mind, I had a definite picture of what success meant in this. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And so if I had stayed in that mindset, I might have given up a long time ago. But I think because I changed my perspective and how I looked for success in different things, in different ways. Like if someone reached out to me and said, Della, I heard something on your show today that really resonated, or I heard something on your show today that really helped me out. Or guess what? I just happened to go through Facebook and I came across your show, and this was exactly what I needed to hear. And as it happens to a lot of us, I think we go through this, right? We attract what we need. And so that was what I figured out. Hey, this is success to me. This is what I call success. So I didn't look at what I was going through, those challenges I was going through, as failure. I was just looking at them as little blocks in the way that I had to go around or jump over, or trying to do differently. So I totally can resonate with this topic tonight.
I love your flexibility, because I think that that's important, right? You were talking about, you had a one vision of what success looked like, and then you changed your perspective. You changed that idea of what that is, what that can how it presents itself. Like, I think when we've talked about it, and I think everyone who does any videos or does any social media type stuff, we look at how many likes, how many views, how many, right? And you have this measurement. And the reality is that even if I have one like, if I help that one person, that's success. So it's not about the number of the amount of engagement. It's, am I reaching that one person that I was hoping to reach today?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I love that you have that shift in perspective.
So I think, what do you think, that success, you have to be clear on what success means to you, right? What do you think, Paula?
I think that rather than just being clear on what success means to you or what failure means to you, is to just take things as they are. I find that we hold on so hard to an idea of a success, to what success is as an idea, based on other people's perceptions.
Yeah, it's true.
Based on our cultural upbringing, based on what our parents have taught us. For example, parents don't teach us, or I don't remember mine ever teaching me, how to become the best owner of my own business. They teach us how to become employees, right? So I go back to that attitude, with that changing ourselves more so than holding on to that idea of, oh my gosh, that's success. When I'm gonna write that book, when I write that book, I'm successful. When I'm the best professional dancer and I'm gonna be the Romanian ballet, I'm successful. But yet you achieve that and you no longer feel successful.
And you want the next thing, right? If I was successful,
I'm not successful because look at that. So you compare.
Yes.
Find that even now with social media, I honestly, in the last maybe couple of months now, I stepped aside from it. Because I find that it's all about that competition. Like, I don't want to be part of it. I want to find out who I am and what you say, Della. What does it mean for me? For me is to be content with what I have, not compare myself, not think that I have to be that tall to be able to be a model, or not, not to I don't know, be a certain, have a certain weight to be able to be successful, or none of that. What I found is that somehow this attitude comes back to me, because changing ourselves rests upon our behavior, really. And changing your attitude in order to change your behavior, that's actually what changes everything. Everything changes when you change your behavior.
Yes.
So I remember when I was young, I was about 17. And I used to love performing. And that was the time that I started performing on stage. So I started performing different, from plays such as for children, for example, Peter Pan, or started playing on operetta plays like My Fair Lady and Tosca, and Europeans know what I'm talking about. And even ballet such as Swan Lake, the most popular, right? I remember one of my maestra and one of my choreographers at the time mentioned to me this: you will never improve your performance unless you work more on your flexibility and you change those turns of yours, and change those darn old point shoes. Now, for those that don't know, point shoes are the slippers that the ballet dancer used to dance on their tippy toes, okay? Now, I loved my old point shoes. I loved them because they were so comfortable. They were broken in completely to the point that I could hardly even stand on them, but who cared? I was comfortable. So she allowed me to see, by showing me how to work on these elements that she's mentioned, honestly, I started feeling uncomfortable and I felt terrible. Like my whole body was aching because I started using different body muscles. And from head to toes, I was in pain. And then I remember saying to her, complaining, saying, there is no way I can ever be that flexible. It hurts too much. Or there is no way I'll be able to dance and use brand new point shoes. No, I like my oldies, okay? Whatever you're saying. You know what she said? She said, fine. Then guess what? You will never be hired by the Romanian ballet because you will never get any better. So you see, in order for my performance to change, I had to change my behavior in order to change my attitude towards it.
And
so
your outcome would change.
How I looked at that is like the steps that I took, right, to change my performance altogether are the same steps that I took to change myself, to change my attitude. Changing your thinking really changes your belief system. Then you change your beliefs, then your expectation change. Then your expectation changes, guess what happens? Your attitude changes. And then your behavior changes, and therefore your performance or your success formula or your failure formula, whatever it is that you focus on.
Your outcome, yeah.
Your outcome will change. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. That's great. And so and I think this is the point where I think it's a good time to start talking about failure as a positive thing, not a negative thing.
Absolutely.
There is no failure. I don't think there is failure. It's your attitude towards it. Like it's, as we said earlier, actually our line for the topic tonight. Sometimes you learn,
And sometimes
you
win, sometimes you learn. Yeah.
So you don't really fail, you learn.
Yeah.
So
you have to make that choice.
And it's funny because we mentioned Edison earlier when we talked about people, the examples of people, and we were talking about the 10,000. And when I was reading about it, when he was asked about that experience, he didn't acknowledge that any of that was a failure because it got him to where he wanted to be.
Yes.
Right. So even though it took him 10,000 times, from his perspective, there was no failure. That was like, Della, you said it when we were talking about it before the show. It's like a doctor, right? It's the process of elimination. So it's not that you failed. It's that you eliminated something that doesn't contribute to the outcome.
Yeah.
Right. So and that's where the whole perspective and attitude and mindset and it comes back down to that.
I love it. So how can we change this word? And let's just say, for the sake of this talk, right? I know Paula always goes back to the attitude. It's not about the word; it's about the attitude. I get it.
Yes.
Maybe would you prefer the word obstacles over failure? Because I heard from you that a couple of times you don't like the word failure.
I just think there's so much negativity associated
Yes,
with that
yes.
word, right? And I think we just have to change it in our own head. We
Yeah.
change our attitude towards the word, and all will be solved. So
Yeah.
every time you think of the word failure, if you associate it with something negative, what can we change it with? And that's a great idea, to replace it with something else.
Yeah.
And
Excitement.
yes, lessons,
Yes.
right? Experiences.
Yes.
What doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well,
not just so what happened, so in my story, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I got laid off from my job about just over 3 years ago, and I remember when I got laid off, there was not that that's a failure, but it's a setback, right? And I remember thinking to myself, I should be really upset about this. And instead, I was walking around. I did have the a couple of moments of, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But then my mind shifted to, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like, the world is my oyster. I get to choose now. So, and that's why when I say excitement is that when you have those obstacles, if you look at those failures or challenges or whatever comes in your mind that you would previously had a negative connotation attached to it, is that what if you switch that to excitement instead?
We're shifting our mindset around that word. So not looking at it as negative, but really just as, we think of that word, a stepping stone.
Yes. They can be stumbling blocks or stepping stones.
I like that. This is good. Okay, we got a couple more. Yeah, Paula, go ahead.
You can simply have faith that when things don't go the way you plan them to, or when you lose your job, or when something happens not quite the way you planned it or you expected or you wanted, leave it all to God, to whatever you call God, because some people say
the universe, whatever
your
a higher power.
Yeah,
it's like, have faith that there is, honestly, it's just look in the mirror and take corrections. Sometimes we lose a job, for example, just because around the corner is something that it's better suited for our personality.
Yes.
Right? Or for our next step in life.
Yes.
And whatever has happened prior to that next around the corner opportunity, it's what has prepared us to get there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to even, acknowledge or be okay with it. Like,
that's so true. Because sometimes we look back and in retrospective, we look at something that back then seemed like, oh my God, what?
The end of the world.
It's the end of the world. What a big failure. What is going on? And then later on, you look at the same situation with a different eye, and it's like, oh my God, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me in that moment.
Yes.
And just believing that things always work themselves out. Things always happen for you. It's so good. So powerful. Yes, Colleen, sorry about that.
No, I just wanted to agree with you. I think that how wonderful would it be if instead of waiting for that 10 years when you're looking back and saying, oh, it was a blessing, how great would it be if in the moment you go straight to that? Mm-hmm. This is a blessing. I just don't know what it is yet.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that reminder. And I think that is our intention from having this talk, is to bring awareness to that let's start looking at this from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. Let's change our attitude, right?
This brings me, guys, actually to, I don't remember who said it, but it says that which holds our attention determines our actions. That's going back to what Colleen said about losing her job and thinking that is the end of the world.
Can you repeat that again?
So I said, that which holds our attention determines our actions. right?
So my attitude was positive, and so I just moved forward from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were asking Della, how can we change that? That's literally it's the simplest thing ever. You just have to focus on the good things in life. You know, all you have to do is, for example, is instead of focusing on or choosing to explore, for example, reasons to praise other people rather than curse or complain about other people.
Right.
Look for those things that are beautiful things, you know, rather than the negative things that you can hold on to and, you know, carry it in your back as a backpack.
Yeah. What is the blessing in this situation, right? What am I learning? Or
sometimes, you know what I find? Sometimes I just sit there and I'm like sad or disappointed, or I'm thinking, okay, so now what? Honestly, that's what I do. Like, okay, I look up and I said, okay, really? And then I'm like, I sit there with those emotions for a while, and then over a sudden an idea comes, and I'm like, oh wow, you know. So I don't know if we dare at the time that I can actually share something that I thought of preparing for tonight's show.
Let me have a look at the comments, and we'll come back to you right away. So let's see what else it says here. Let's see. I'm going back here. So thank you, Colleen. I hope I spelt your name right. Yes, probably. Obstacles are way better than failures. She agrees.
Thank you.
Tracy says, "Congratulations, Della." That's about my 1 year. And I got another. This is a big milestone, Della June. Congratulations! Thank you so much. In case you guys don't know what June means, and you've been hearing it a lot, it's an endearment term in Iranian. So I could call you Colleen June.
Yes.
Or June. That means dear Colleen, dear Paula. Okay. Teaching you.
Thank you.
We got Tracy. She loves this conversation. Yes. I know. We're awesome. Faranex says, have faith in yourself. Yes. Simone says, this is powerful. Let's think positive no matter what. Yes. Lizzie T, ladies. Lizzie T is here with us. She says, hello, beautiful lady. Hello, back at you, beautiful. Okay, Paula, back at you. We've got 8 minutes to the end of the show. So why don't you take a couple minutes and give us the example you want to give us?
So what I thought is that there are really 3 simple steps we could look at in all circumstances. And generally, now our topic is failure or success in failure, or failure in success rather, or the other way around. You see the labyrinth of words. So the 3 steps we can take that will for certain change our lives, I believe. Now we get to change. We get to choose how that will impact. Will that be a positive change, or will that be a negative change? Is first step, okay, is treating people worse than they treat you. And hold on, okay? This is
I was gonna say,
wait a minute. I'm waiting for an explanation. Go ahead.
I know.
You got some explaining to do.
This will not lead you to feel good about yourself, okay? Neither will make somebody else feel good about themselves. But guess what? This for sure will feed that ego of yours that's trying to survive so hard, okay? That's the first step. Treat people worse than they treat you. That's what ego wants, okay? According to me, okay? Anyway.
So are you saying that you're recommending that we do treat people?
No, but you see, it's all in your choices. Colleen, it's all in your choices. Bear with me. Let me.
Okay. I'll wait.
Another step is to treat people the way they treat you, and for some, this may somehow be rewarding because they think, it's only fair. Now, what does Mother Teresa said? and actually God, and I actually believe in it. That's my way too. Treat people better than they treat you, because this will show who you truly are. And that's regardless of how they treat you, or how they point finger at you, or how they blame you. It's kind of like that golden rule: treat others like the way you like to be treated. That's my little Christina's favorite quote, if you may. So you see, my whole point here is that you make that choice. You make that choice in what to believe. You make that choice in what to take responsibility for. You make that choice when you look at positive, or you look at negative things. And you also make that choice to blame others for how you feel or how you react. That's just a choice. So you also make that choice saying, I succeeded because I completed my book, or I succeeded because I've, danced with the Romanian ballet, or I succeeded because I
ate a healthy dinner.
That's right.
So for some people, some days their success is that they got out of bed.
Yes,
that's right.
Right, that they got dressed. Like there's so many levels of what success can mean in any moment. That
yes, I really love this talk.
You know how the analogy, I don't know if you know, there is an analogy in the Bible about the seed that grows in a fertile soil. So sometimes I look at this almost like our what's it called in English? Metaphor for life. If we surround ourselves with positive people, if we work on our own mental states and our belief systems, then guess what? We are born as a seed, okay? And we are thrown into this world to grow into a beautiful tree that can, make fruits that can nourish the whole entire world. And everybody has different fruits for different reasons, for different needs, right? So I think that's a great analogy for life. If we have a seed, okay, let's say we throw it on the concrete. Does it grow? By sitting there, it can sit there for years and years and years. However, if somebody picks up that seed that has that tree that's supposed to grow from that seed, if somebody plants it in a fertile soil, what happens to that seed? It becomes that beautiful tree.
Gives beautiful fruit.
I believe this is how we are.
Mm-hmm.
We need to consider, when other people come around us, we should actually ask ourselves, is that a fertile soil or is that a concrete? Am I going to flourish in this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I going to just die or just not grow anymore? I don't know. Does that make sense to you guys?
It's food for thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, ladies, we're almost out of time.
I see that.
Okay, let's see if we have any other comments from anyone.
While you're looking through that, I just want to remind everybody that next month's episode will be aired on November 19th.
Thank you.
So I wanted to make sure that we got that in tonight so that we remember the third Thursday of November is November 19th. And what's happening with those comments?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, comments is Faranek says, my motto is to treat everyone the way you want to be treated. That's the golden rule for sure. Simone says, that was a mistake. My daughter, LOL. I don't understand that comment. But she says, after she says, this is powerful. I like it. She likes it. Okay. Before we leave, I do want to talk about a little. So this is my book that was published in August. And do you see that thing here? Do you see that thing here? It's it says Amazon #1. A little shameless.
Congratulations, Della.
I can attest. I have purchased your book, Miss Della, and it is such an interesting read. It's well written. It flows so nicely. It's just lovely. So
Thank you very much. Please buy my book.
I'm so sorry I haven't yet. I will.
Thank you. The paperback is available on Amazon.ca. Please purchase it, read it. I hope it brings you some inspiration and touch your life.
And I also have the Kindle version, right?
Yes, they can get the Kindle version as well. Okay, Simone clarifies. She had she had made an angry face by mistake. It was her daughter who made it. So she was correcting that. Roberta says, "Love the seed and the tree resulting in fruit analogy, the metaphor that you used. Thank you so much." Dr. PPP is also here. Del Futui. Wow, congratulations. You are the celebrity. From your mouth to the universe. Thank you, ladies. I love you so much.
I love you too.
For this talk.
I love you all, even those that are listening and are participating with us. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether you've joined live or you watch the replay, know that we appreciate you so very much.
Yes. Actually, that's a great idea. If you're watching the replay of this talk, please do a hashtag replay with your comments so that we know, and share this talk with the other people. If you've gotten anything positive, any information, any inspiration from this talk, don't just hold it to yourself. Be generous and share it with others.
If you think that we said something that triggers something and you don't agree with, please don't hesitate to let us know. We learn from one another. We don't think we know it all.
Yes, and it's not a failure.
It's an opportunity.
It's an
opportunity
to learn, because as the topic of our show said, sometimes you win and sometimes we
win.
sometimes we win and sometimes we
win.
She confuses
me. Keeps cutting off the learn.
But we win. It's sometimes they win and sometimes we win.
Yes, absolutely.
It's always a win. All right, I got it.
Oh, you have to see these last few comments too. Faranak says, "I love you, Della Khanum. I love you too, Faranak June. Great show tonight. I love it very much. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you, Simone.
You guys are powerful women. Salute."
Thank you.
To you. Okay, ladies, we're ready to leave. We don't want to leave because we love this so much, but we got to let you go. We got to be respectful of your time. So thank you so much for joining us. We are so grateful to have your support, and the engagement you showed us tonight was fantastic. Thank you so very much.
This is the butterfly effect, everyone. This is the butterfly effect, bringing you love,
hope,
and compassion.
He threw that right at me. Okay, that doesn't count. One more time.
Okay.
With attitude.
This is the butterfly effect, bringing you love,
hope,
and compassion.
Love to all.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.